Hey everybody. So today I wanted to talk to you guys on this episode of The Truth Will Do about overwhelm in our kids. I think so often, well, this last weekend even, I kept telling my husband, gosh, I feel so overwhelmed. There's so much to do with the holidays coming and whatnot. And I thought that it would be good to address the topic then of overwhelm in our kids, because oftentimes we forget that our kids can be super overwhelmed, or even what can cause overwhelm in our kids. And sometimes we hear too much of a good thing. And so I really wanted to address that because I've talked about this book before. So it's called Simplicity Parenting, and my kids have drawn all over it. But I read this book it's probably been about 4 or 5 years ago. And it's an amazing, amazing book. And now with the holidays coming, a lot of times we feel like we need to get our kids more stuff or more books, more clothes, things like that as gifts. And we feel sometimes guilty if we get rid of some of their, maybe it's older clothes or toys, things like that. And I know just in my office, people have made comments, sometimes it's hard and they do have so much stuff. What can we give them? This book, you guys, I would highly recommend reading, especially if you feel as though it's hard to get rid of some of your kids' toys or even some of their books. I still think back to this book all the time. I reference it, whether I'm looking at it or referencing it just in my memory, because they had so many good points. And one that I wanted to address was books. And I am a huge book lover. I love books. But I know for me, when I have a lot of books that I want to read, I get super overwhelmed at times. And it's like I'm trying to hurry through the one book that I'm on so that I can start with the other one. And sometimes I don't take the time to really appreciate the book and really let it digest. And it can be a really amazing book, but I'm like so into let's just get it done and get on to the next book. Well, our kids actually feel the same way. One of the things that the author of this book recommends is, he says, even say you have a ton of books, have for your kids, instead of having a big bookshelf full of books, have a basket of 10 so that they can develop these really great relationships with the book, so that they can really love them. Kids tend to want to read the same book over and over again. And that's really what they should want to do. They're developing that connection with the book. And so for me, one thing that I took away, even for myself, is that I'll have a book out and I need to just put all the rest of the books away up on, way up in my closet, so I don't stress about it. They're always going to be there, but we should really only have one book that we're focusing on so we don't get overwhelmed. And the same thing goes for toys. Kids need to develop this amazing connection with a toy. Maybe it's 1 or 2 toys. So he gives a lot of suggestions on how to simplify with that. And I'll tell you, you don't feel guilty. After you read this, you feel really good about getting rid of some of those toys, even if your kids say they're a little upset about having to get rid of the toy. And then the other thing would be schedule. I know for us with 5 kids, our schedule gets massively crazy at times. But he has some really great suggestions on how to reduce that, or how to only make that a season, and then to really have the next season be much more calm, much more open in that schedule. And some kids need it day to day. If one day is super busy, they need to be able to just relax and chill out that next day. But this, if they're super overwhelmed, whether it's their schedule, whether it's too many choices, too many toys, too many books, even in clothes, sometimes our kids have way too many clothes and there's way too many decisions for them to have to make in a day. So that, you guys, it can lead to a lot of anxiety. It's because our kids are so overwhelmed. So this time of year, it's a great time to start thinking about how you're going to make these changes. I know a lot of people wait till New Year's Eve to make, New Year's resolutions and whatnot. But now is the time, especially if you have children who are overwhelmed, if they're really anxious, things like that. Start to think about what you can do now and just make little steps along the way to reduce that overwhelm. Not only for your kids, it's going to help you, it's going to help the family, the whole dynamic. But really, really want to encourage you guys, if you want more seriously, Simplicity Parenting It is so amazing, so amazing. So I hope you guys found it interesting. Once again, if it's like, comment, share it, especially if you know other moms who are struggling to, like, maybe it's declutter and get rid of some things. This book will seriously change your life. So I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I look forward to the next episode of The Truth Will Do. Bye, guys.